Death kills everyone, but immortalizes a few. This sentence will make sense to you by the end of this story, which I tell, choked by a lump in my throat, but with a chest swelling with pride. This is the story of a great man who was fondly called Chawa in Marathi, which means a lion cub. Chhatrapati Sambhaji Raje, a sapling in the shadow of a big tree. It is often said that a big tree cannot grow under the shadow of another. But here is a story which is an exception. Everyone would think that the life of a prince would be a bed of roses. But little Sambhaji lost his mother at the age of 2. His grandmother Rajmata Jijabai brought him up. He shared a deep bond with her. A little boy of 8 to 9 years was taken political hostage to make Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj stick to the Treaty of Purandar. He was also put under house arrest by Aurangzeb. It was this house arrest from which father and son escaped in fruit baskets. Shivaji Raje went back to Raigad and sent Sambhaji to Mathura. Sambhaji spent almost a year at Mathura disguised as a Brahmin. He studied the Sanskrit language. Sambhaji met an important person there, Kavi Kalash. Both of them did not know that destiny had intertwined their fates. Sambhaji returned to the Maratha country, a young tree desperate to seek its own place in the sun. The young tree was restless to get its own sunlight. It was not easy. Sambhaji turned into a rebellious teenager, a polyglot, who knew 13 languages, exponent of both Shastra and Shastra, blessed with the temper to fear. What a deadly combination. Let alone common people, even Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj has to face the heat of his child's teenage. Sambhaji once witnessed a conversation between his father Shivaji Raje and a Shakta Tantric Nishchalananda Puri. Maharaj, according to the Tantric Dashas, your coronation Muhurtam is inauspicious. Kindly change the Muhurtam. That's impossible, Swami. It will be an insult to Gaga Bhatta to suggest so. The Dashas predict an inauspicious event by the 11th day from the coronation. Shivaji's coronation happened on the pre-decided Muhurtam. But Rajmata Jijabai died on the 11th day. It was a huge loss for Sambhaji. Remember, he was brought up by Jija. Having seen the accurate prediction, Sambhaji's inclination towards Shakta line of worship began. He delved more into the Panchmakaras of Tantra practice under the guidance of Nishchalananda Puri. His stepmother Sauryabai and a few courtiers used this as a pretext to poison the ears of Shivaji, leading to Sambhaji's estrangement from his father. Shivaji detained Sambhaji in Panhala fort. Disillusioned Sambhaji joined hands with Diler Khan, who was a Mughal general. Both of them attacked Bhupalgarh, a Maratha fort. After a strong fight, the fort surrendered when they learned Sambhaji was leading the charge. But Diler Khan ordered the cutting of hands of the prisoners. Sambhaji disagreed with this and eventually left the Mughal camp. Shivaji let him back but put Sambhaji in Fort Panhala again under house arrest. The big tree fell and the other rises. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj attained Sadgati. Sambhaji wasn't even informed. Soirabai, along with a few ministers, wanted to make her son Raja Ram the king. But Sambhaji after a while learnt about his father's demise and came back to claim his throne. He got the support of Hambirao Mohoite and others. He neutralized all other elements with Samadana Danda Bheda. Swami Ramdas, the guru of Shivaji Maharaj, who laid the spiritual foundation of Haindavi Sarvarajya for the rise of Marathas, wrote a letter to Sambhaji upon coronation. The letter had commandments. He advised the young king to follow in the footsteps of his great father, be more tolerant towards his people, and to avoid making decisions in anger and haste. He also advised Sambhaji to be more discreet and prudent in the future. Heeding the Guru's advice, Sambhaji changed. A big tree finds a climber. Kavi Kalash, a poet, Tantrik, Kannauj Brahman, and Kali Upasaka had come to the Maratha country when Shivaji Maharaj was alive. Sambhaji already knew him, and a friendship was instantly struck. Sambhaji appreciated the poems of Kavi Kalash. Given their shared inclination towards the Shakta line of worship, they got closer. A climber grew over the upcoming big tree, intertwining their fates forever. Chandragupta Maurya had Chanakya, Sambhaji had Kavi Kalash, his closest confidante and advisor. Kavi Kalash advised him to attack Aurangzeb in Maharashtra. Aurangzeb was accumulating wealth there to expand into the Deccan. Sambhaji's attack came as a huge blow. The big tree started giving fruits. Sambhaji defeated Aurangzeb's people repeatedly in different places, even when faced with odds such as 800,000 soldiers against just 20,000 on Sambhaji's side. Aurangzeb tried to take help of Portuguese to attack Marathas from the sea. Sambhaji smelt it and beat the Portuguese even before a treaty was made. In the span of 9 years, Sambhaji had fought over 100 different battles and lost none. He kept Aurangzeb busy. Mughals were fast losing control and Hindavi Swarajya gained in Punjab, Bundelkhand and Rajasthan. Chhatrapati Maharaj gave birth to the Swarajya movement. Sambhaji ensured it also come to Swadharma. Sambhaji Maharaj established a separate department in his province for the reconversion ceremony of Hindus. He was also a good administrator and the people loved him. But Sambhaji was destined for greater pain and glory than just love. The big tree withstands a woodcutter. After a setback at the Battle of Vai, Sambhaji had gone incognito with some trusted friends and advisors, but one of Sambhaji's own close aides gave away his location. Both Sambhaji and Kavi Kalash were chained. They were paraded before the crowds as clowns. They were hung upside down. The Mughal soldiers threw stones at them. With every stone thrown at them, Kavi Kalash would sing praises of the gods. When Sambhaji was produced before Aurangzeb, the latter got onto the ground to offer his prayers to his god. Looking at this, Kavi Kalash sang a short poem. यवण रावण की सभा शंभू बांध्यो बजरंग लहू लसत सिंधूर सम खूब खेल्यो रणरंग रवि छवि लखत खयोत बदरंग राजन तव तेज निहार के लखत तैजो अवरंग. Incensed, Aurangzeb ordered the cutting of Kavi Kalash's tongue. He asked Sambhaji to do 3 things to get freedom. Surrender all forts and disclose hidden treasures. Disclose name of Mughal officers who helped Marathas. Convert to Islam. Sambhaji replied with Har Har Mahadev and even said he wouldn't convert even if Aurangzeb offered his daughter in marriage. Both Sambhaji and Kavi Kalash were skinned and chili powder were rubbed against the peeled skin. Their eyes were gouged out using a hot iron rod. Their limbs were hacked off one by one. This happened over many days as Aurangzeb got it done in a leisurely manner, giving enough time for Sambhaji and Kavi Kalash to writhe in pain. Aurangzeb would stand near the window to listen to their cries. Day after day, their flesh was thrown to the dogs. This is the kind of behavior that inspired the self-styled descendants of Aurangzeb to torture Indian soldiers during the Kargil War 3 centuries later. Anyway, every day he would make Sambhaji the same offer. Every day he would return disappointed. Sambhaji and Kavi Kalash bore the gaudy torture heroically for 3 weeks. Kavi Kalash died earlier. Later, Sambhaji's head was chopped off. Our big tree had met a cruel woodcutter, but it did not yield. The woodcutter chopped and chopped, literally, not metaphorically, but the tree would just not fall. That was Sambhaji. He could have agreed to Aurangzeb's condition and led a comfortable life, but the man who had never seen comfort even as a prince wouldn't be afraid of pain or death, would he? Our big tree Dharamveer Chhatrapati Sambhaji Raje gave us the fruits of Haindavi Swarajya and Swadharma. The climber around the tree, Kavi Kalash, made the ultimate sacrifice in friendship. Are we sowing enough seeds that give such trees?